Trauma. It's a word we hear often in news stories, movies, and even casual conversation. But what does it really mean? Simply put, trauma is a deep emotional response to a distressing or disturbing event. It's not just about something bad happening, it's about how that event overwhelms our ability to cope, leaving us feeling helpless, overwhelmed, and unsafe. Imagine a child experiencing a car accident. The screeching brakes, the impact, the fear, these sensory experiences can leave an imprint on their young mind. This event might be categorized as a single event trauma, a one-time occurrence that disrupts a person's sense of safety and well-being. Trauma isn't limited to physical events. It can also stem from emotional experiences, especially if they are prolonged or repetitive. Consider a child growing up in a household with constant verbal abuse. The constant criticism, yelling, and emotional neglect can be just as damaging as any physical harm. This type of trauma, known as complex trauma, often arises from ongoing exposure to adverse experiences, shaping a child's development and worldview. Understanding trauma is crucial because it goes beyond the event itself. It's about recognizing the lasting impact these experiences have on a person's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Trauma is not just about the event itself, it's about the lasting impact on mind, body, and soul. Our brains and bodies hold on to these experiences. Trauma triggers fight, flight, or freeze mode. Hormones like adrenaline and cortisol are released. Prolonged trauma leads to hypervigilance. Our bodies remain on high alert. Think of it like a fire alarm system. In a real fire, the alarm is essential, but if it keeps going off, it's distressing. Trauma makes our internal alarm overly sensitive. This is where the window of tolerance comes in. Trauma shrinks this window, making us more reactive. Understanding trauma helps us see beyond the surface. It's not about choices or weaknesses. It's about a nervous system struggling to regain balance. Trauma comes in many forms, each leaving its own unique mark on an individual's life. Recognizing these types is essential for support and understanding. Acute trauma from a single, isolated event. Examples include physical assault or abuse, serious accidents or natural disasters. Complex trauma from prolonged exposure to trauma. Examples include childhood abuse or neglect, domestic violence. Developmental trauma during childhood and adolescence. Examples include early childhood separation from caregivers, neglect or abuse by primary caregivers. Trauma is subjective. What might be traumatic for one person may not be for another. It's about the individual's perception and ability to cope. Section 4. Recognizing the scars. Symptoms of trauma. Trauma can manifest in a wide range of symptoms, affecting people physically, emotionally, and behaviorally. Recognizing these signs is crucial for seeking help and understanding the underlying cause of these struggles. Emotional symptoms. Anxiety, fear and worry, depression and hopelessness, guilt, shame and self-blame, emotional numbness and detachment, difficulty concentrating or remembering physical symptoms, sleep disturbances like nightmares and insomnia, fatigue and low energy, headaches and body aches, digestive problems, increased startle response, behavioral symptoms, social withdrawal and isolation, irritability and anger outbursts, substance abuse, self-harm behaviors, difficulty forming and maintaining relationships. It's important to note that these symptoms can vary greatly from person to person. Some may experience only a few subtle signs, while others may struggle with a debilitating combination of symptoms that interfere with their daily lives. Section 5. The importance of understanding trauma. Understanding trauma is not just about recognizing the symptoms, it's about shifting our perspective and approaching individuals with empathy, compassion, and a commitment to their healing journey. Consider a child who constantly acts out in school, disrupting class and getting into trouble. Without understanding trauma, we might label this child as bad or disruptive. But what if this behavior is a manifestation of past trauma? What if this child is constantly on edge, triggered by reminders of past abuse or neglect? By recognizing the potential impact of trauma, we can shift our approach from punishment to understanding. We can create a safe and supportive environment where this child feels seen, heard, and empowered to address their underlying pain. The same principle applies to adults struggling with the effects of trauma. A veteran returning from war might experience flashbacks, nightmares, and difficulty connecting with loved ones. Without understanding trauma, we might misinterpret these struggles as personal failings or signs of weakness. By recognizing the profound impact of trauma, We can foster a culture of support and understanding. We can create spaces where individuals feel safe to share their stories, process their pain, and embark on a journey of healing and recovery. Section 6. Trauma's impact on individuals and society. Trauma's reach extends far beyond the individual, casting a long shadow over families, communities, and society as a whole. When left unaddressed, trauma can create a ripple effect, perpetuating cycles of violence, addiction, and mental health challenges. Children who grow up in homes marked by trauma are more likely to experience behavioral problems, struggle in school, and engage in risky behaviors. They may also be more susceptible to developing mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. These challenges can have a profound impact on their future prospects, limiting their educational and employment opportunities, and increasing their risk of involvement in the criminal justice system. Moreover, trauma can contribute to a culture of silence and stigma. Individuals may be reluctant to talk about their experiences for fear of judgment, shame, or disbelief. This silence can prevent them from seeking help, perpetuating a cycle of suffering and isolation. Understanding trauma's far-reaching impact is crucial for breaking down these barriers and fostering a more compassionate and supportive society. By promoting trauma-informed approaches in healthcare, education, and social services, we can create a world where individuals feel empowered to heal and thrive. Section 7. Moving forward. Healing and support. The journey of healing from trauma can be long and challenging, but it is possible. With the right support, individuals can process their experiences, develop coping mechanisms, and reclaim their lives. Seeking professional help is often the first step. Therapists specializing in trauma can provide a safe and supportive environment for individuals to explore their experiences, address their emotional pain, and develop strategies for managing their symptoms. There are various evidence-based therapies available, such as trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, eye movement, desensitization and reprocessing, dialectical behavior therapy. In addition to therapy, joining support groups, engaging in self-care practices, and building strong social connections can play a vital role in the healing process. Remember, healing from trauma is not about forgetting the past, it's about learning to live with it in a way that allows for growth, resilience, and hope for the future. By fostering understanding, compassion, and access to support, we can empower individuals to embark on this journey and reclaim their lives.